Hey you guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to react to some of the comments from my last Dad Challenge podcast video. There were some really good ones and I wanted to share them with you guys and elevate your all's opinions as well. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so periodically I really like to do this, responding to comments. I haven't done it in a long while, but I figured that this would be a good group of comments to share with you guys and, just kind of elevate your all's opinions, because for anyone who thinks that people having an issue with Dad Challenge podcasts is just something that's isolated to a few creators and it's just people that are jealous of this guy sitting in his basement, that's just not the case at all. These comments confirm that, and it's many people across YouTube and other social media platforms who are seeing the same patterns of behavior from him, and they have come to the same conclusion or something along the same lines. So this is not something where a few YouTubers are just using his name for clicks and views. That's not it at all. And I wanted to share these. So let's start from the top. I'm just going to go from the top down and pick out, I'm not going to read everyone because we'd be here for 8 hours, but the first one says, I believe someone needs to stand up against family vloggers and end child exploitation. However, Josh has taken it down the wrong path. Josh could use his platform to actually talk about how influencers are using their children for money, but instead he bullies creators. What does JessFam wearing the color yellow have to do with exploiting her kids? What does JessFam going on vacation have to do with exploiting her kids? He is only getting worse and worse, which is a huge shame because he really could use his platform to help kids. The next comment says, as someone who has to take Adderall for my disability, I'm getting really tired of people like Josh making fun of people and stigmatizing ADHD and Adderall. I know that this is only a small thing that he has done compared to the and blatant misogyny, but holy shit, that fucking hurt. And the really crazy thing is that Josh has said before that he's on his own medication for the same diagnosis. So I think that he's the type of person who thinks, oh, well, if I do it, then it's okay to make fun of it. And that's just not the case at all. He should already understand the stigma that surrounds taking medications like Adderall. So it just really goes again to show his pure ignorance and disregard for what other people are experiencing as well. His journey does not equate to someone else's journey, and it's not his to poke fun of. When he imitated the heavy breathing, it really sickened me. That is truly bullying, bordering on cruelty. How dare he shame on him? So the next comment says, how any woman can go along with what he does is beyond me. Any man that speaks about how a woman may smell is absolutely disgusting. He sounds like a high school child. The dad of YouTube, my ass. The man has hatred for women that is scary. How these women justify his actions is nuts. Also, the doxing is never a mistake. He knew what he was doing. And that's been my point all along is, let's talk about the Brianna K thing for just a quick second. When you're pulling up Google Earth or Google Maps, it is literally showing you street names, intersections, landmarks, shopping malls. That was not a mistake. And then the timeline that followed that was getting called out many, many times. Then he asked his mods. Once his mods called him out, he decided to cut that part of the video. First, he blurred the video. Then he decided to cut that part of the video out. But the problem was that when you cut a section of a video out, when he went to cut that section out of the video on YouTube, he ended up, allowing it to process. And instead of putting it on private because it would have messed with his views and his place in the algorithm, he just left it as is, as a public video. And while the video was processing, it unblurred everything. So that was the second chance for people to see the image and figure out where Brianna K lives. And this is why I say, I am so scared to know how many people actually know exactly where she lives. And it's all because of Josh, because he wanted to know how close Target was to her house. These are not actions that should be justified, excused, forgotten about, or not talked about. The next comment says, I'm not through with the video yet, but I'll repeat what I've already said before. It is extremely important to call these people out in real time. Every time when they have an established pattern of denying, deflecting, and dirty deleting. If people don't understand that, it's clear that they've never dealt with people like this before. Did he say he was sending people somewhere to check the status of something pertaining to special needs? Am I in bizarro world where that's okay? She is talking about the selfie world situation. I did clip that in my last video, so if you guys missed this video, please go watch it. It's a really good one. But he felt like it was his assignment to send people to selfie world to see how many people really had disabilities that were working there. So what a pig. Usual. The next comment says, he is genuinely scary. I did support his message and tried to ignore the red flags initially. I offered him a bit of criticism and was met with gaslighting and hate, so I thought I was the crazy one and stopped. When he did the convoy live, I was trying to correct him on his blatant misinformation and was met again with severe hate, but also threats, more misinformation, and his fans citing my username to others to say that I was crazy and to block me. That is absolutely not okay. And then Josh did block me for saying that the convoy was funded by white supremacists and questioning his Q language. Now I'm finally able to accept the fact that he has gone too far. You can support someone's original message and what they claim to stand for, but it is an unfortunate truth that he has done some reprehensible things. Hearing some of this stuff about him looking at people is scary. I really do hope that more people speak out to help open some of the eyes of his stands. I do believe not all of them are entirely lost in the Josh cult, as I wasn't, but I was still sub to him. Please keep speaking about this stuff. Nobody is immune to criticism, especially when they're threatening critics and shaming people. And that's exactly what I said. I think that some people would speak out against him, but his stands are rabid and they are, you know, the ones that follow him still to this point and excuse the things that he does are not people who are willing to just accept that he's going to have some criticism on YouTube. And these are people that will absolutely just like come for you. And like I said in my last video, some of the things that I've seen of him doing himself behind the scenes are huge red flags as well. I'm so glad that you continue to stand your ground with these creators and the good and bad of each one. As far as this guy, I've ranted before about him already, but on a second look, I've come to think of him as a creep who probably went out to bars the night before he found YouTube to hide behind his wife while his wife sat home with the kids. He's the kind of personality who slinks around the bar thinking he's good looking, dressed in his white t-shirt, dark blue jeans and shiny shoes, asking every single woman he sees if he can buy her a drink. If she declines, he calls her a slut. If she says yes out of the pity for the poor fool, then he follows her around the rest of the night. Josh has turned what could have been a decent platform holding family vloggers up to the light into a misogynistic bullying attack channel. It's actually shown a light on his deep-seated resentments and issues with women and young single mothers. When he does talk about the fathers, he doesn't apply the same standards he does to the mothers. He just comes across as a creepy middle-aged guy judging women in his basement. I never got the impression that you and he were friends. It appeared to me that you were two content creators that had cordial messages, period. And that could not be further from the truth. You know, if we were really super friendly, I would have said that by now, but that just wasn't the case at any point in time. And he is someone who, you know, I would have banter with back and forth periodically, and that was it. So, you know, I've also said, I think that him contacting YouTubers so early on, giving unsolicited advice about camera and lighting was his way of trying to get people on his side. Like, oh, but he's a really nice guy. Like, he messaged me for no reason and gave me advice on a filming setup. He's a nice guy. I think it was strategic. Next comment says, thank you for repeatedly calling him out. I can't stand Josh and he is just flat out mean. and he is doing crazy things that are becoming unhinged. Why are you paying someone to look into YouTubers' backgrounds? That's super weird. Nobody is going to pay attention to your message if it involves putting people you don't even know in danger. These people also happen to have children that are also being put in danger because of his crazy antics. This is from a former subscriber. I'm no longer a DCP subscriber. Hadn't really tuned in for a while before unsubscribing. He's dangerous. I feel like he's using what he learned in the church to build his own blind followers. There is a lighthearted story to share in all of this, however. At one point, he had asked his followers if they could send him a particular brand of tortilla chips from Oregon. I believe he was trying to obtain ammo for his war with APOC. He was. Funny thing is, all of us Oregon peeps started talking about how amazing those chips were and how we are so lucky to have them here. Needless to say, it was not the response he was looking for. And I was laughing because when that happened, I knew the response that he wanted to get and the response that he actually got were a night and day difference. I was laughing so hard. Someone else said, "That's the worst apology I've ever heard. My God, what happened to Josh? He really turned into something sinister, bitter, and truly hateful. I'm sorry, but he absolutely was not this horrible when he started his channel. He needs to check his heart." I agree. I don't like cancel culture, but I would not be sad to see both DCP and KJP pursue other interests. Also, opinions can change the longer you know someone. Opinions are yours, and just because someone is nice to you does not obligate you to be blindly loyal. If it hurts someone in their feels, everyone has a camera on their phone. Load up your own opinion. Critique RB, my stuff. I don't always agree with you, but I will say I enjoy your videos and you have every right to voice your concerns on people who have a channel. People need to be aware. Steer clear of this man. He is dangerous and irresponsible with his platform. Someone else said, "Wow, you really put into words how I've been feeling lately. It's like he's slowly changed over the last few months. I feel like my eyes have been opened, but by the end of his Christmas series of Daily Snarkmas, he seemed way different. The Christmas dancing vid of the girls made me laugh until I cried, but I didn't feel good about it after. I genuinely find him funny, and he's the only vlogger my husband likes, so I guess we have immature senses of humor. But I think because we both grew up in the church, we both have a lot of the same experiences, so we felt less alone. But things have changed. I really feel like you've made some fair and accurate points, and I'm rethinking my support of him." And I cannot tell you guys how many comments I received along this same, vibe that this comment says, where it's like, okay, initially I really liked it, but then slowly things started to change, and then as of the last several months, things completely changed. And once you see it, you literally cannot unsee it because it's all that you notice. I've known too many people like Josh. He doesn't help people because he's a good person. He helps people to do something I like to call collecting favors. That means he will do you a favor just to have something to use against you. If you call him out, you better remember that one time he helped you. Absolutely. Not to mention, I worked as a crime scene investigator and have seen a lot of horrible people. The more they talk about having people, the less likely they do. It's scare tactic assholes used to scare people into submission. It's because most likely people in his life think he's a joke. The next comment says, "I tend to stay neutral with people, but Josh's channel has started to make me feel super uncomfortable. The way that he goes after one or two people over and over and does snark videos on videos that have nothing to do with children and judges their fun times. I don't like Jess Fam or support her in any way, but saying she looks awful in the color yellow or that she shouldn't be having a big celebration with drinking for her 30th birthday was way too much." And I heard about this Jess Fam video, a mom having fun drinking alcohol. Of course he's going to have a problem with it, but this is such a good point, and it does relate back to the snark losing its way. It no longer means anything. It's no longer once in a while as a form of entertainment. It's just it's a way to bully people and have a cop out, in my opinion. Josh seems like he is coming from a place of insecurity when crap talking the women on YouTube specifically. Like he so badly would want to be with them, but he knows he has zero chance, so instead he picks them apart to feel better about himself. Someone else said he should just drop the Save the Children act and say he's a drama channel. His doxing is intentional, yet he freaked out when someone sent him his address privately. And that's what I was saying with the whole APOC thing and DCP. Do I think that there's been some petty banter from APOC? Absolutely. But when we're talking about putting out public information onto a public platform versus things that have happened in DMs between these two creators alone, there's no justifying putting it out to a public audience versus having a conversation behind the scenes with that person in DMs. He's gotten so out of control. He is basically wanting to be a private eye. Dude, just stop with all this. He's also not above scrutiny. No one is. Well, see, yeah, and I do think he wants to be a private eye, but he is too lazy to actually put in the work, because sitting in his basement dragging people and seeing people and having his ego stroked is much easier than putting in the work to actually do anything outside of what he currently does. In any situation, regardless of how many times the family posts about it, if you care about the safety of children, how could you post where a child lives? There is no excuse for that. And I couldn't agree more. I've heard the argument a couple times where people say, well, Brianna K vlogs and she has shown, where she lives or whatever. Even if she has shown her front door and the name of her street, that's her prerogative. It is not for Josh to go on Google Earth and show an entire bird's eye view of her whole neighborhood. That's not for him to do. There's no excusing that, period. The last comment that I will read is, how is making fun of women's breasts helping children? Let's be honest, Josh is making money off these children too. I doubt he is not monetizing his videos on them, so he's making money himself. And I have not seen, to date, I have not seen a video on his channel that was not monetized. Now granted, I haven't been watching him the past few months, and I also, even during the time that I was watching him, I don't know, I did not ever watch all of his videos because I just couldn't. Some of them weren't interesting to me, and I have my own channel that I would rather make content for. It is really funny because it's like, okay, you want these family bloggers to take their kids offline, but if they did, you would still annihilate and drag them even if they weren't using their kids. He would run out of content if the family vloggers took their kids off their channel. And at that point, you would just look like a huge hypocrite because you're dragging people who did make changes. And, before Josh wants to constantly sit on his soapbox and say that nobody should know info about your kids and all this kind of stuff, I'm going to put a TikTok right here, and I will let you guys watch that, and then just let me know how much of a hypocrite he really is.
Children. I don't want to know about them. And the fact that people know so much about Scout and Violet, okay, or Scotch and Vodka, whatever you want to call them, okay? Is it really that quiet, guys? I'm sorry. How about that? It says it's clipping. I don't want it to be clipping, so just turn your volume up. Look, if you guys know so much about these kids, that's the problem, everybody. That's the problem. There's no reason for adults on the internet to know anything about other people's children to the level
So anyway, guys, those are all the comments that I'm going to read for today. I'm always interested to hear what you guys think, but creators need to keep talking about this. I know that there's been a little bit of backlash, but I discuss toxic influencers and problematic YouTubers, and if someone fits the mold, then I will talk about it on my channel. It is what it is. I'm going to be fair. I'm not going to be a jerk or a bully about it, and I will speak on what I want to speak on. So either way, I do have a video coming. I don't know if it'll be before or after this video, we'll see, but just subscribe and keep an eye out because I am going to be doing a video highlighting the cyberbullying and harassment part of the YouTube terms of service and having a conversation around that. So Either way, for now, if you like the video, please leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.